Welcome back everybody, it's Red Skull again, back with another comparison video. Today we're back in the FPS genre, but this time it's getting tactical. While you're already here, be sure to leave a like on the video and ring that bell to subscribe to the channel. I'm very happy to see you guys in the comments and hear your thoughts and feedback on the videos. It helps me out a lot. But now, let's hop right into the content. CSGO released August 2012 as successor to Counter Strike Source, and way before that the legendary Counter Strike 1.6, which by the way was the last of the games I myself played way back in the good old days. LAN parties over a whole weekend with non-stop Counter Strike action were the thing back then. Since then it dominated the tactical FPS genre and established a massive esports scene. Several of the most watched and famous Twitch streamers at the moment come from a professional Counter-Strike background. Shroud and Summit are probably the most well-known of these. In August 2020, Riot Games launched their own take on the genre in Valorant, breaking records on Twitch during the beta phase with clever marketing and a rarely seen before hype. Since then, several pro teams changed games from Counter-Strike to Valorant, and many professionals of other games like Overwatch for example also switched over to the new kid on the block. We'll compare the behemoth to the possible usurper in the following categories: new player introduction, graphics, sound, map design, mechanics, game modes, microtransaction, and last but not least, fun. As a disclaimer, this is all from a new player's point of view to help you guys decide which of the games to maybe pick up. This is not a guide at all. If I'm wrong in something, just correct me down in the comment section. When you first boot up Valorant, you get a tutorial featuring movement. It explains how to shoot. There's the weapons range, the shooting range with the different options like spawn bots in and strafing bots, whatever. You get explained how to place the bomb, how to defuse the bomb. You get introduced to different agents and their abilities, and that's pretty much it. It's not a bad tutorial, and it definitely helps you get a grasp on the fundamentals of the game. When booting up Counter-Strike, you got nothing. You get right into the game screen where you can choose to get into your first competitive round of Counter-Strike. To find a tutorial, you'll actually have to search the menus. So this point clearly goes to Valorant 1.2.0. Graphics. CSGO is obviously the older game, so it looks a bit dated in my opinion. It holds up to the standards though. It has a realistic art style. The weapons, in my opinion, look kind of stupid, especially how your character holds him, and the animations, they seem partly very wonky, like the movement, and parts super stiff, like the shooting and the recoil animation. Not my thing. Valorant features a more stylized art style with more colors. Not super good looking, and especially the map or the cover on it, like boxes, looks super out of place in some cases. Animations are smooth and feel good though. Style wise, it's whatever you prefer, but the animations and feel, in my opinion, favor another point for Valorant. 2.2.0. Sound. I have a big feeling of nostalgia towards CS, as stated before, so I was kinda biased towards it when I first started creating this video. I was shocked, however, how dull the weapons sound in the game and how indistinguishable the footsteps are from the overall surroundings. There's no oomph behind the shots, it's just with practice you can surely hear what weapon makes which noise, but it just felt unsatisfying to me to use the guns in the game, since there's just not this satisfying feel of I got a big powerful gun in my hand there. In Valorant, every gun sounds very different from each other and you can easily distinguish them. The volume and bass just feel really good when using the guns, and you feel the power of the thing you got in hand here. Agents have their different voice lines and even banter around each other sometimes, so that's another pro in favor of Valorant. 3.2.0. Let's get into map design. Counter-Strike features some legendary maps like Dust 2 or Assault that even I, to this day, know and love. There's a huge variety and you can even create your own maps in the game. Maps feel real in Counter-Strike. They tell a story and are believable in their own right. You don't really wonder why this box is standing there or who the fuck put that thing here. Why is it there? Not so much in Valorant. At the moment it features 5 maps which are all different from each other. other, but you very much see that these are maps designed to play in, if that's somehow comprehensible. There are obvious line of sight blockers and many corners everywhere, which just don't really fit into the places they inhabit. Boxes and other stuff looks kind of out of place, and as before mentioned, I'd fire my stuff if they would just throw my precious boxes around like that. There's not much variety yet, and maps don't feel like inhabited. This is a clear-cut point for CSGO. 3-1 in favor of Valorant right now. Let's get into the nitty-gritty and talk about mechanics again. Both games are tactical first-person shooters, so they feature a lot of similar mechanics. You can either move fast and loud or slow and silent. To shoot, you should not move or move slow to shoot accurately altogether. Counter-strafing is a huge part in playing the game on a higher level. You build income through winning, planting or defusing the bomb, or even through losing rounds. You spend the money on guns and utility and try to win the most rounds in the match. There's an attacker side with the bomb and defenders which split up and defend. The side switches after a set amount of rounds, so both teams get a shot at each. The game revolves around holding angles, pushing as a team, trading kills to get advantages. You need to rotate from one side to the other to exploit weaknesses in your enemy's defense or to overwhelm the defenders, depending on which side you're playing on at the moment. Movement in Counter-Strike feels so wonky somehow. I don't remember that from the 1.6 version I played way back then, but it feels like your character is covered by goo or honey, I don't know, it's just wonky. In Valorant, movement is super crisp and feels very good. The gunplay in Valorant is more forgiving movement-wise than Counter-Strike's, so a little move and shoot or shoot while slow walking is much more effective here. And sometimes it even feels like the guy pushing an angle has an advantage over the one holding it. Spray patterns of weapons get pretty random after some time, so controlling a spray is much harder in Valorant and not really the way to go about gunfights. Shooting in Valorant feels very good, as said before. Weapon animations and sound all fit together so well. In Counter-Strike, it's nearly impossible to accurately shoot while moving. Exception here is the aforementioned counter-strafing. The recoil patterns are learnable, which is pretty cool, so you can control your sprays pretty well. Solo pushing gets you punished in Counter-Strike so hard, way harder than in Valorant. Shooting doesn't feel as good though, due to the sounds issue and pretty much no animation of recoil whatsoever. That's the stiffness I mentioned before. Spraying is easier, as I said, but you guys don't even need that, I know. You be clicking those heads all day long. Let's talk about the utility now. In Valorant, every agent has 4 abilities, much like in Overwatch. Some have to be bought every round and they are not lost on death. The ultimate has to be earned, but it's most of the time super strong, so your team composition matters a lot. There's different classes of agents like duelists, controllers, initiators, and you have to pick the right composition for your team to work. In Counter-Strike, everyone can buy the same utility items. There's a flash, a smoke, a Molotov cocktail, or a decoy grenade, and everyone can use them in the round, or when you die, you lose them. Just like the weapons. To conclude the mechanics point, Counter-Strike is probably better for the more aim-focused people around here, while Valorant just feels very good to play and you can do cool and creative combos with your abilities. Not to say you don't need to have good aim in Valorant, it's still #1 priority to be any good at the game. I'll have to give this point to Valorant, since to me it seems more beginner-friendly and not as hardcore as Counter-Strike did. 4-1 in favor of Valorant. Let's go on with game modes. With custom maps in Counter-Strike, there's a huge variety of modes to play, like surfing, aim training, gun game, etc, etc, etc. There's literally something for everyone, aside from the normal and competitive game modes. In Valorant, there's unrated and rated, spike rush, deathmatch, which is called free for all, and escalation, which is their version of gun game. That's it. Since it doesn't feature custom maps or any of that yet, it's pretty scarce so far. This one goes to Counter-Strike for the huge variety and creativity of some community members in here. 4-2 for Valorant. Since both games are free-to-play titles, there of course are microtransactions to talk about. Both games have a form of battle pass. Valorant is called just that and CSGO has operations. You complete missions and collect XP to get rewards like weapon skins, graffitis, Asian skins in Counter-Strike. The standard thing with this kind of microtransaction today. Valorant costs 10 euros. The latest operation in Counter-Strike costs 13. Both prices are rounded up a little bit. I can't say much about the contents, but seems quote-unquote fair to me. Counter-Strike offers a Prime status update for another 13 bucks, which promises exclusive matchmaking, skins, etc. Maybe that's why I couldn't get a single game without a horde of cheaters in it. I literally was not able to play a single round of the game without someone shooting everybody standing in spawn or zooming around like mad, shooting through walls, whatever. If you make your game free to play, make it so everyone can experience the real game and not some cheater infested mess. I am not at all tempted to buy anything for the game after my experience with the free to play. Furthermore, in Valorant you can buy specific weapon skins in your personal shop that changes every few days, and bundles when new skins get released. You get what you pay for, at least. The prices though are super freaking high. Some knife skins cost around 45 euros or more. That's downright a ripoff if you ask me. These should be lowered by a lot and are not worth the money in my opinion. Counter-Strike skins are mostly traded via third-party gambling websites and are awarded at random. You can trade skins with other players if you like. I don't think there's a way to buy a specific skin in the game itself, so it's pretty much all RNG. You don't know what you get, and having to resort to some shady third-party website doesn't make that any better. Even though I find Riot's pricing in Valorant super toxic and rip-off-esque, I'll have to give that point to Valorant, since at least you know what you get for your money. 5-2 in favor of Valorant. Now we're here at our last point, which is fun. And if you watched the whole thing so far, you can probably guess who gets the point here. I was not able to play a single game of Counter-Strike without having at least one guy wall hacking, aimbotting, fly hacking, whatever you can imagine. As I said, if you make the game free to play to get people to play it, at least make it so that you can actually play the freaking game, Valve. I don't know about the paid version, but that isn't what this video is about, so clear cut one more point to Valorant. This leaves us at 6-2 in favor of Valorant for our new player comparison here, boys. I hope the behemoth would put up a better fight, but I can see why so many people change games now. If Valve doesn't step up their game, I think Valorant could easily take over Counter-Strike in the next few years. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, tell me your idea for a comparison like this down in the comments below, and have a grand old time until we meet again in the next video. I am Red Skull. You guys are awesome. See you soon with some crazy MOBA action.